Hi, I'm Anya, and I am playing Emily Brontë. Emily is known for her only novel, Wuthering Heights, and she was also an avid poet, writing about 200 poems. Emily is a very complex character. She is frustrated to live a life of conformity, as women in the Victorian era were expected to live. She was very reclusive. Life for her existed between home and the moors and sometimes in church, and she rarely spoke to anybody that wasn't a member of her family. The moors are where she felt free and calmer and unconstrained, and this is definitely touched on in the play. Emily definitely struggled with depression, and we see in the play that the moors and walking are her way of coping and processing situations that she can't process at home. Writing poetry is the window to Emily's soul and her inner thoughts. It's a massive coping mechanism for her. She fights fiercely to keep her poems private because of that reason, and she is stubborn and willful in that desire. We see an awful lot of conflict between Charlotte and Emily in that regard. She questions the role of women in society and how women are viewed in that era, and again shows a lot of frustration in that. Emily is angry at the hand that she has been dealt in life, and writing is her escape, very much reflected in her portrayal of Cathy in Wuthering Heights, which we see a lot of in the play. Emily is much more internalised than Charlotte and Anne. She doesn't have the ability to see another perspective other than hers, which comes back to her stubbornness and her willful character. She's fiery. She doesn't care to toe the line or fit into a mould that people think she should fit in. She is not a people pleaser. Charlotte is challenging for Emily, being very different to her. She resents the mum role that Charlotte has to assume because they lose their mother very young. Charlotte really tries to make Emily bend to fit the mould that a woman should fit into, and Emily doesn't like that at all. She has a sympathy and a real soft spot for their brother, Branwell. She sees a very similar depressive nature in Branwell that Emily herself has. She sees that he struggles, perhaps in the same way that she does. Her and Anne reportedly had a really nice relationship, and you see a lot of that in the play. They bonded as young sisters, making up stories and lots of creative play together. And you see that bond carrying on through the play, which is nice. Emily needs to write for herself, and Charlotte and Anne do need to write for themselves, but they can consider another voice. They can consider that they're writing for somebody else. Emily writes just for her, and I think that is why her novel originally caused so much controversy. The reviews weren't good, it didn't go down well, and I think because Emily was writing from her soul for her, not because she felt she had to restrict it or prohibit it to what people expected to see at that time. When we get the reviews in the play, you see that Emily is quite shocked and angered by the reviews that come in about Wuthering Heights, and I think it's the first time she's forced to see her book from another perspective, and it makes her quite cross. It's an attack on her inner thoughts and her soul. And Cathy symbolises her desire to just write freely and be free in life. And to quote a bit from the play, wheeling over our heads, riding the moor higher and higher, that sense of freedom that Emily desperately wants for herself, that we see throughout the play and in Wuthering Heights.